Greetings, my name is Blaze and welcome to my channel. If you've not been here before, I talk about thought, theory, and my interpretation when it comes to things that I'm interested in. Today's video, I'm going to give a little shout out to a friend of mine, David Dellman. Now, David Dellman is a mentalist and a magical practitioner when it comes to performance magic. So we're talking about like stage performances, magicians, tricks, and things like that. Now, he's a very interesting individual. I love watching his content, and if you are interested at all in some of the history behind magic and stuff, check out his channel. Actually, check out his channel anyway. It's just fantastic to hear about some of the history of things. Now, the interesting thing about David Dellman is he also mentioned that he is into some spiritual stuff as well, which I think is fantastic. In one of his videos, and I'll link that below so you can check it out, he was talking about different types of performance and how you want to work into your performance what you're trying to accomplish. So the video is called The Silent Script, and there's a point in there where he's discussing telekinesis and psychokinesis. So telekinesis and psychokinesis is something I wanted to jump in on because out of the many things that I've researched and looked into, whether it be performance magic or if it goes into magic and mysticism or some spiritual practices, there's also the inclusion of psychic skills and psychic phenomenon. Now, I understand that some individuals watching this may not be interested in this type of stuff. However, if you're watching my channel, you probably are. So let's discuss it a little bit. I want to start off by saying I am not an expert by any means. This is just from what I've researched and what I've learned, and I just want to share my thoughts and start a conversation. So you don't have to agree with me, and this is not etched in stone as the only way to use or interpret these types of words. So the interesting thing that I find specifically with psychokinesis and telekinesis, and I'll put some links below, because again, I don't have all this stuff memorized, but I've always used the two terms differently. David Dellman said in his video that they're basically the same thing, and he's right. That is an accurate way of assessing telekinesis and psychokinesis. Most people will use them the exact same way, and it just comes down to which term that you prefer. However, based upon my research, I've come up with a different interpretation on how they can be used, not only in stage and performance magic, but also in actual psychic practice, mysticism, and actual spiritual practice as well. Which, by the way, I want to point out that I consider stage magic itself to be real magic. And this is what I mean by that. I don't mean the actual trick and effect, making something float or vanish and reappear, or, changing objects into different types of objects. All of that stuff, yes, there's tricks. It is a trick. Doesn't mean it's not real magic. What makes it real magic, in my personal opinion, is the spell you are weaving over the audience. Yes, let me say that again. You are weaving a spell over your audience. When you perform, and I've seen David Dellman say this in some of his videos as well, it is more about the story and the performance than the actual trick and effect. And that's the aspect that I consider to be magic. You are, in a way, weaving a spell of illusion through your words and through your performance. And to me, that's what real magic is. Real magic is about working with the universe in a way that helps to manifest your will or intent. So this can be through art and music. This can be through just spiritual practice without having a physical manifestation. But this can also be through performance art of any form. So I consider trick magic to be real magic as well, just different type. Now, when we talk about the terms, like I said, telekinesis and psychokinesis. Telekinesis, and I'm going to look up my notes here. Okay, I've got my references up, and I'm going to read directly off of them because I don't have the stuff memorized, especially the dates or how to pronounce the individual's name. So I apologize for butchering the pronunciation here. But telekinesis apparently was first used in 1890 by Russian researcher and spiritualist Alexander Askov. Again, might be butchering pronouncing that, and I apologize. Whereas psychokinesis, which actually came out later, was first used in 1914, and this first appeared in Henry Holt's book on the cosmic relations. So let's break down the two words. Kinesis basically means movement. Tele is distance. Psycho is mental. So telekinesis is distant movement. Psychokinesis would be mental movement. So psychokinesis could technically happen from a distance. You could project your mental influence and will to move something far away from you, or you could be touching it. Telekinesis, I personally interpret to mean only at a distance, so you would not be in direct physical contact. What I mean by that is if you take magical effects for performance, if you take a spoon and bend it with your mind, obviously as a trick, to me, that would be psychokinesis and not telekinesis because you're in physical contact with the object. There is a haunted key effect where you can have a key in your hand and it rolls just by thinking. Again, physical contact with the object, so I would consider that to be psychokinesis or PK. Now, if you're doing something from a distance, like levitating an object and floating it in the air, I believe you could use either term, psychokinesis or telekinesis, based upon what you prefer. At the end of the day, you can use any term that you want. But I wanted to give my interpretation on the two differences, so if you were going to use them differently, this is one way to think about it. Again, not etched in stone, not universal, just my personal interpretation. I think most people use them universally and as synonyms for each other, so they'll use either term that they're comfortable with. And there is no right or wrong way to use these terms as far as I know. This is just how I've interpreted them and how I separate the two terms. Thank you for watching. That's just my few thoughts that I wanted to share, and a little shout out I wanted to give to David Dellman. If you want to join the conversation, please comment below. I would love to hear your interpretations on both psychokinesis and telekinesis, both from a spiritual standpoint. Do you think it's even possible? As well as from a performance standpoint. Do you yourself do performance magic? And if you do you use either of these terms in your performances? Why or why not? Do you have one that you prefer over the other? Do you use them universally or interchangeably? Yeah, just share some of your thoughts below. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.